Other 4 year mammy and a still an and who I she at say a month be brina as sunny ija edi gunesu. Yes, so Bekai a bronny case now, just a Gertrude Torkornoo, Otina Kundwemu as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Yes, o making it clear say, President Yere, Vice President Yere, Nasefono, Omun say, a bind ebemo musica bia per diem. Vice President Niru, President Niru, any spouses bia, some penifone, almost spouses, or Yerimuna, and who say, or mine ebemo musica bia or the form. When they and some I say get to Torkornoo Otinasi case no a brony case no Otinasi no Kaka Sansem no Musin. Time I no Kaka Sansem no, na ye tuya or no neba, Ekayema or no neba per diem, any new Kunusu per diem. But when to me and can once more, I know catch a year, a brony time not na Kujino di a brony case no, or saying, Vice President Yirio, President Yirio, whoever it is, no, they are not entitled to any per diems, be another salary be from a binding conflicts. Meanwhile, no unknown Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, on in the bush of Funya, no more enjoyed for. And a month will be Brinaba Bontia or Mode Chesse and Sem Abe Bonwa or Bia a Cassetia and Miss Beginning in Abre Ghanatube for my call. You're going to say something in Anchim or Ghanatube by this year.
People on this. And in the view of the dissenting persons on this table, let's just establish the fact that, as you've referenced continuously, we are not a bench.
Yes,
obviously. But then again, there is the room for the expression of opinions on this. Or is there any uncertainty about the position of the law on this matter of when a Chief Justice is removed? Can she still serve as a Justice of the Superior Court?
There is no ambiguity at all. There is no doubt, all right, from all the cases so far, especially starting from a Gertrude, where that matter was very much at play, that when a person is removed as a Chief Justice, that person loses the office of a Supreme Court judge as well. There's no doubt at all. Listen, let's go over this. Asante Gertrude and his father went to court. Okay, they represented a Gertrude. Let's go over the argument. ADG read it, but let's read it again. Of course, when I was coming this morning, I wanted to read it because some lawyers are saying it's obita. When we say obita, so they are trying to say that it didn't concern those statements that the Supreme Court made were not necessary for resolving the case that a Gertrude brought. So it means that it was irrelevant. It's just that they were talking. I mean, just expounding law, but it's not relevant. Listen, they made their argument. They say the Constitution does not provide any separate and distinct grounds other than those set out in Article 1461 for removing the Chief Justice, qua Chief Justice, that's as Chief Justice from office. Thus, under the Constitution, a Chief Justice cannot be removed as a Chief Justice from office and remain on the bench as a Justice of the Superior Court. He can rather be removed from office on the same grounds as a Justice of the Superior Court and by implication lose his position as a Chief Justice. You see, they said, and by implication lose his position as a Chief Justice. And that's why Modibo Okran said, yes, what you are saying is right. And now you turn back and say, no, nobody asked the Supreme Court to make such determination. If you didn't put the argument there, would they be answering you? That was the argument that was made. ADG read it. We are reading for emphasis. You sent the argument there. Did anybody put a gun to a Gertrude's head and his lawyers to make that argument? They thought it was relevant for the case, and so they made it. No, and then you come to what Dateban. So we read Modibo Okran. Dateban is the one who gave the lead opinion. So let's see what he says at that side. Let's come here. So Dateban says at page 775. Page 775. Let's go to the last paragraph. He says, as far as the Chief Justice is concerned, I think it is reasonable to link his conduct of his administrative responsibilities with his position as a justice of all the superior courts. So you see that the bar says they are linked. Justices of the superior court are required to adhere by, maybe now we say to, certain judicial ethics, which can be infringed by the conduct of a chief justice. You see? Mm-hmm. So he said justices of the superior courts are required to adhere to certain judicial ethics, right? Which can be infringed by the conduct of a chief justice in the performance of his administrative acts. Mm-hmm. You see it? So that's it. So you are acting as chief justice, but certain conducts also affect your what do you call it, conduct as a judge. And what do we say here? Here we've lost 367,000 Ghana cedis because Chief Justice signed for that money to be given to her husband and to be given to her daughter, the per diems and the tickets, all that. So we're saying it's illegal. In actual fact, what the committee is saying is that there was no right whatsoever to take that money for the Chief Justice family. It's very grievous. Look, we are even being very charitable. That's why I keep saying the more you push this point, then the more you would cause people to go and file criminal charges. Somebody will go and file. Yes.
How you talk about criminal?
Yes, criminal charges. Because the Chief Justice herself, the Chief Justice herself in the Abroad DC case, the presidential spouses, she said no. Article 71 is very clear. Wives of presidents and vice presidents cannot take money from our public purse. Not knowing at the time she had already taken some for her family. How? They are sitting in judgment over other people that no, Article 71 doesn't allow that money be paid to spouses of president, vice president. Meanwhile, but then you are taking money for your spouse and children, a child. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they say, let's not push it. The more you push it, the more ridiculous. And look, I have people sending me messages that viewers are very angry that, look, we are pushing this argument too far. We are pushing it too far. How can you say that a bar is showing you that in your conduct as Chief Justice, there are certain things you do which also affect your ethics as a Supreme Court judge? So you see how it's linked. It's a consolidated process. So if you come to the facts of this case, we have lost what? 367,000. Who asked that the money be paid for the tickets and for the spouse and for the daughter? This is not child's play. And let's nail the final fact. Look, millions of our citizens don't earn even 100,000 the whole year. And you have one family just blowing this in 2 weeks or less, and you think this is a child's play. Where? No, let me land. Where? So show me. Is that so? The constitutional matter is that. Can you show me there? Is it in the Wando report, or is it in the Rama Ade report or Green Street report, which says that when the Chief Justice is traveling, they should pay spouses per diem, pay children per diem? That's a very grave constitutional matter that people want to play politics is. Where in the various reports from Green Street on Ramadi, Buando, etc. Which of the reports say that you can pay the spouse of the Chief Justice any per diem or pay the child of the Chief Justice any per diem? When in actual fact the Chief Justice herself in the Abronye and then Dafia Mepo, those cases, had said that you can't do such a thing. So let's stop playing with this and making very arid arguments that go and start afresh to remove her as a Supreme Court judge. When the Supreme Court itself is saying that the two are interlinked, it's a consolidated process. It's farcical, very, very farcical to say that we should go and start from scratch and remove her separate. That a bar says your ethics, things you do as a Chief Justice, also affect you as a Supreme Court judge. So it's one combined process. You are removed as a Chief Justice. You are also removed ipso facto as a Supreme Court judge. Let's not toy, because like as I say, viewers, the lay people are not having it easy. That's some of these things. Yes, I know there's devil's advocate, but please, when the law is clear, let's not do these arid arguments.
Okay, well, and let's do this quickly. We need to go for a quick break. And if you are seeing these bottles on the table, I just need to remind you that UGL Premier Fresh Natural Mineral Water is a premium product of UGL, the commercial subsidiary of the University of Ghana. Our water is sourced from natural springs in the Eyikuma Enclave, where we strive to maintain a
out of 4 when breaking news about to dry, yes, mrakwan so no nsema yede to maame so no de ne kwan so ano no yesi yentumi yi mfi akonnwa so as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana ne yensan so mount na akonnwa so as Justice of the Supreme Court. Inti si yi mfi akonnwa so as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana e automatic say yesan so yi mfi akonnwa so as Justice of the Supreme Court. Inti ye maame ni 2 positions we are efin insan no yesi mrakwan so pepepe mrakwan so ena enua be maye Martin Pebu we quote some of the laws, some of the cases bi mu a omodi wo court a chese we quote ni nyina as evidences chese si you fi akondwa so as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court a untumi insan so ntina akondwa no so as Justice of the Supreme Court. Nti enya yi upe na chese o se o ya aware say as a Justice of the Supreme Court nso sa akonnwa no so obehwe ono so aka hodofo. Nti yesi sa kwan na yede mame afaso no de ne kwan so anodofo aha na mede nsem nyina besi mamro mfi se mbe like na subscribe na share na notification bell so ma nse na be ya abrini abibia dope content say ya wo wonya ntempa no hwe no tie modofo aha na mede nsem nyina besi e Ghanatube so makra mu nyina medamu nyina sibebre.